So recently, Marvel unveiled a shit ton of release dates for their upcoming films, including their next Spider-Man movie, No Way Home. So it got me thinking about the MCU Spider-Man franchise as it stands now, and what I want to see improved in the next movie. And as a disclaimer, I'm going to be comparing these movies a lot with the Tobey Maguire movies, because I still think that series of films is the best live-action Spider-Man stuff we have right now. So yeah, here are 3 things I want to see changed in Spider-Man No Way Home.
Round 1, fight!
They really need to step up the action in these movies. Spider-Man is one of the most interesting characters to put in an action scene because of his unique power set, and for some reason, his fight scenes in these movies never seem to be interesting enough for me to want to rewatch. What I really want them to do is bring back the high stakes and intensity of the original Tobey Maguire films. When Tobey gets punched, you feel it, and the damage of his suit really helps to convey that. The newer films seem to rely a lot more on CGI, and because of that, it doesn't feel as real as the older movies. The fight choreography in general also doesn't help. Think back to the train fight in Spider-Man 2 or the New Goblin fight in Spider-Man 3. The constantly changing environments of these fights alone make them so much more interesting to watch. On the other hand, during the final battle in Spider-Man Homecoming, I kept thinking, why would they not use the amusement park in the background as the setting for the fight? Can you imagine Vulture and Spider-Man fighting in and around a bunch of carnival rides? That would have been way more fun and interesting than this flat beach area they chose. I think the set pieces did improve in Far From Home, but it still lacks the intensity I think it needs. So I'm hoping director Jon Watts takes it to the next level in the third movie. This one is a larger problem I see with a lot of Marvel movies. They do really well in building up the main characters, but I think that a lot of the supporting characters don't get the attention they deserve, hence why I like the idea of having those Disney Plus series. The MCU Spider-Man supporting cast is especially bad. Almost all of his classmates are used as comic relief and don't really feel like fully fleshed out people. The Tobey films gave a lot more care to the supporting cast and had more personal scenes with each of them to allow the audience to understand what each character is thinking and how that affects Peter. For example, James Franco's Harry Osborn is Peter's best friend, and yet feels like he has to compete with Peter's scientific intelligence to get his father's approval. However, when the Green Goblin kills himself and Harry finds out Peter is Spider-Man, he resents Peter not understanding what actually happened that night. See, there are layers here that make this relationship feel real and dynamic. Meanwhile, in the MCU movies, Ned is just a nerdy friend of Peter's. There's really nothing to dig into there. There are also rumors that Flash's dad is going to be the new Green Goblin in this series, which would be cool, but stuff like that is tough to believe when we're 2 movies in and none of these characters have really developed at all. This last one is simple Spider-Man 101. Give the villains a stronger personal connection to Peter Parker. The villains in these movies have been entertaining, but just a little underwritten. Vulture was a great idea, and I think for the most part they nailed it, but I just wish the revelation of him being Liz's dad came earlier in the film. Liz on her own was such an underwritten character anyway, so not seeing her and her dad really interact throughout the movie didn't make that twist feel as impactful as it could have been. Mysterio was fun and all, but his fake friendship with Peter was pretty short-lived, and again, I didn't like how they kept falling back on Tony Stark as a way to give these villains a motivation. Funny enough, No Way Home seems to be pulling villains from the Maguire and Garfield movie universes, so I don't see how that would really help this issue, but all I'm saying is that I don't think Tom Holland's Spider-Man has a real nemesis yet. The villains in the Tobey films were interesting because they were already people in Peter Parker's life that just happened to become supervillains. Oh yeah, and let's actually make the villains intimidating again. People praise the car scene in Homecoming, but was that really as tense as these scenes? So yeah, comment below what you want to see in the next Spider-Man movie. Do you agree or disagree with any of my points? Let me know, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this. See ya.